All right, let's start. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, depending on which time zone you're joining us from. And a warm welcome to each one of you. Thank you so much for taking your time to join this session. And yes, our topic for today is maximizing your career potential, tips for video resumes and mock interviews. Yes, so before we proceed, I would like to introduce our speaker for today, Ms. Snehal Dhanashri. She is an experienced professional with over 22 years of expertise in training, mentoring, and coaching. With a background in voice and non-voice based functions, Snehal has trained across various hierarchies in esteemed organizations like Capgemini, Accenture, and L&T Infotech, specializing in a wide range of topics including communication, time management, and leadership. Snehal has a passion for empowering individuals and teams. With proficiency in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Power BI, Snehal creates impactful training content. And without any further ado, I would like to hand over the session to Ms. Snehal.
Thank you, Soumya. Thank you so much. It sounds so wonderful listening about you, right? And I love this. I love this when somebody talks about me. Great. Thank you so much. And to begin our session today, guys, I'm sure I'm audible, everyone. A quick yes or a no in the chat. And if you are ready to go ahead, let me see a lot of yes. Soumya, would you be helping me with the responses? I won't be able to switch on the slides enough.
Yes. We are getting yes.
Okay. Great, guys. So I won't introduce myself again to you, but let us quickly start with what we have today and why are we talking about maximizing your career potential. So today's webinar would be a little different, wherein you would be getting a chance to speak to me, and I'll let you know in the last half an hour of the session as to what that would be, right? So let me start with a quick, short, an insightful story that would help you understand why it is important for us to maximize our career potential. So most of you might be knowing the story of this elephant and the rope, right? It is one of a metamorphical tale about limiting beliefs and conditioning, how it can hold us back from reaching our own potential at times. So in this story, guys, a man comes across an elephant that is tied to a very small rope. Now, despite the fact that the elephant is huge and strong, this elephant can always go ahead and, he can break the rope. But to a surprise, this person sees that the elephant is not able to break the rope. So he goes and asks the trainer, what is the reason for the elephant to not go ahead and, break this rope? So the trainer tells him that while this elephant was a young baby, he was tied to a rope and he was very weak then. And because of that, this elephant had a belief that he cannot break the rope. And as a result, this elephant became conditioned to believe that it was, as I said, not believe to breaking the rope, even though it could be easily done as an adult. Now, this story, guys, is often used as a metaphor for how our own beliefs and conditioning can hold us back from achieving our full potential, right? We can become so conditioned to our limitations that we may not even try to break them, or we may not even try to come out of that. So, the lesson or the moral of this elephant and the rope is to recognize and understand the limiting beliefs and conditioning that impacts us from achieving our full potential. While I started my journey, I had this belief in my mind that a CEO or a leader, is more than a position. These people, they come with an attitude and, you need to be quite qualified for this position. But then as I started doing in the industry, it completely changed my mindset. And then I understood it's a state of mind. And I know you might be thinking the same, like I started thinking that it can be you have to have a certain title or a position to have a leader or a CEO. But then, guys, it's more important for us to understand that anyone can adopt a CEO or a leadership mindset. You do not have to have the position. And why do I feel that is? Because of the functions that we specialize in today. may not be applicable in future. What you would have seen, I'm sure, in a couple of last webinars we had seen about branding our online presence, making it strong. We had seen why are we supposed to go ahead with a powerful resume, right? In those days, when I started working, we never had these resumes which we used to create using templates. So we used to follow it on a paper, and then we used to keep it in a file and get inside a room with a folder and all. But now things have changed, right? And often people think that they need a checklist while moving from different industries or specialities, or while moving to different levels, right? And today, what we are going to learn about is the reality that if I had to let my skill set define me, I need to understand where I am today. What are the things that I need to inculcate in my day to day behavior to get that mindset of a CEO or for a leader, right? And yes, we come with a lot of constraints that can actually, create barriers for us. But most of the times, I have observed and I have learned my ways of going or taking this constraint as challenges because they have helped me create my problem solving skills. They have allowed me to force in a new way, right? So what we are going to do today is we are going to understand that when it comes to maximizing your career potential during a job search or while you are working, there are several strategies that you need to employ or that you need to develop in yourself. So we would be talking about creating impactful video resumes. Now, this is something which is quite trending from a couple of years in the industry because here, when we talk about the impactful video resumes, is when an interviewer understands the person's mindset, he understands his communication level, he understands his body language, and I'm sure it contributes to 60 to 70% of the understanding of who and how the candidate is, right? We would be also talking about a couple of shooting techniques, guys, which would help you understand and create a powerful video for yourself. We would be looking at a couple of strategies of acing mock interviews, which is very, very important, wherein you would be interacting with me. I would try my best to be your interviewee today. And we would also learn something very, very important, which is a storytelling, right? And a couple of practical tips and guidance from my end would always be there. So if you all are ready, let's start understanding the ways of identifying a potential. But before we start this, do you have any questions in your mind? Or if you can help me understand what are your expectations out of this? When this topic came to your mind, maximizing your potential, what was one expectation that you had from this session? Quickly, one word in the chat box. And Soumya is going to help me understand your expectations, guys. Let's be quick.
Yes. So anybody gaining confidence?
Okay. Yes, let's be quick. I can see only 9 messages.
Preparing an impactful resume.
Preparing an impactful resume. Okay, we would be talking about a video resume today, right? Wherein you would be telling about yourself. Now, what and how you would be telling yourself is something that you would be working on. If you're looking at building a resume, I'm sure if you could go back or to one of our webinars where we had spoken about different types of resumes, that's going to help you. But today we would be focusing more on a video resume.
Yes. So elevator pitch.
Okay, very, very important. A simple formula for elevator pitch is what I'm going to share with you guys today. Anything else?
Anybody else from the audience? Okay, so how to create a resume for transitioning to a new role.
Okay. Again, as I said earlier, we will be working on a video resume today. So,
Right. Anybody else? Right, so you can continue, Snehal.
right. So let's begin with understanding the most important thing of how do I identify my potential. It's very, very important, guys. The most important thing is whatever you do, you want to even create a resume. Like a couple of you said that you want to create a resume for a transition, you want to create a resume for entering into the market or anything that can be, or you are looking for a growth in your in your professional life, the most important thing is you need to identify your potential. And there are various ways of identifying your potential. The first one is to know your purpose. You might be thinking, okay, what is that? It has to do with the resume building or a video resume. If a person is not aware of what he is inspired with or what his purpose is, it becomes very difficult for us to understand, okay, what am I going to add in my resume? What am I going to talk about it? How I would be introducing myself. A lot of times in this 22 years of my experience, when I have asked people questions, okay, what are your strengths or how would you describe yourself in one word? So I get expressions like this, and as and when people are thinking about them. So, right, I have always been very, very inspired by Mother Teresa. Her purpose in life was to take care of people, um, you know, who were able to take care of themselves. So this was something that my inspiration was to understand that what is the purpose. If there is no purpose, everything will fail, right? And it had been a huge motivator for me personally. And as when I started my career, I'm sure I was not a very good speaker, right? Or I was not very confident of my communication skills. But then, as and when I started looking for my purpose, as and when I started looking for the reasons as to why do I need to grow in business, is when I started looking at a transformation in myself, right? Please remember that purpose is the driving force behind everything you do. If you understand your purpose, you start believing in yourself as an individual, right? Wherein you would be able to have a right plan for yourself, right? Being passionate, being disciplined, being communicative, and listening. Yes, it all goes one by one. But the most important thing is once you know what you want to do, where you want to see, and please, guys, do not get into mind mapping. Again, a very close observation that I had these many years, that people do not even have a career development plan for themselves, right? So they do not know, and hence they are not able to answer a lot of questions in an interview, which we are going to discuss it a little later. You have to be enthusiastic, not only for the business purpose, but also to understand what's happening around you, right? So you have to work on those four eyes. And I always talk about the industry, the innovation, um, the intelligence, and the integrity. So with these four eyes, I know what my purpose is. I know how do I go about it, right? And you need to have that optimism within you, right? If you are optimistic, I'm sure your passion would work on what you have decided. So these external demands that most of the times we're not able to understand what's happening around me. I have been applying for so many jobs. However, I'm not getting the right way. First of all, my resume might not be the right one, right? My resume might not be in applicant tracking, the ATS compliant, right? I might not be disciplined. Most of the times, I'm not able to explain myself, right? So these are the ways where you need to understand how do I work towards promoting myself in the market. It's very, very important that you know yourself more than anyone else. Most of the times we say, I know myself, but when it comes to toot your own horn, we are not able to do it. So it's very, very important to do this. Now, how do we do it? Most of the time people say, okay, fine, I need to know my purpose. Being passionate is not something new that I'm listening to. It's near. The strategies and ways are right here on the screen, guys. Self-assessment is the most important thing, because if you start addressing your skills, if you start assessing your skills, your strengths, your interests, the SWOT analysis that we talk about, right, is when you understand where you need to work on. If you understand your goals in a right way, you that you want to achieve in your professional life or in your personal life, I'm sure this self alignment of your, or this self awareness about yourself, about your goals, is going to help you understand with the long term aspirations that you have. The approach that you come with again is very, very important. Rather than applying for each and every job that comes your way, rather than sending the same resume, one of the myths that we come with is, okay, fine, I have created one resume and I'm going to share the same resume with all the job responsibilities. No, we cannot do that. We have to tailor our resume all the times, because then that is when you align yourself with the right skills and the goals of the company that you are applying for, which are different for different organizations, right? So tailoring your resume, tailoring cover letters are not being used much in India, but yes, If at all you are sending a cover letter, you have to ensure that you tailor it according to the requirement by highlighting the qualifications and experiences which are relevant to the job that you are applying for. Networking, yes, very, very important. Building and expanding your professional network both online and offline is very, very important. In a couple of previous webinars also, we had discussed that how important for you is to make your digital footprint strong, right? Attend a lot of events, guys, right? I'm sure it's not possible for all of us to be authors or orators, or people are not very good at creating videos and uploading it. It's okay, right? Choose and understand the niche skill of yours and go about it. Engage. A lot of engagement in your desired field is something that is needed, right? Because networking is only one lead that can add the valuable connections. It can help you add a lot of leads inside the industry. Your online presence, yes, we have spoken about it. Enhancing your online presence, how many followers do you have, is something that you need to always create a tab of it, right? Create or update, keep updating your LinkedIn profiles, keep updating your portfolios if you have, right? And I'm sure that's going to help you understand your presence, how many people are looking and watching at your post, how many people are following you on LinkedIn, and how many updates that you can share from your end would always help them understand that how closely you are related to the industry related content. So it's very, very important. Professional development is something which is very, very important aspect in our life, but this is one place where we give a least importance. When we start working, our learning gets a full stop, right? It should have commas in it, right? So go through a lot of training programs, go to a lot of small certifications, workshops are one of the ways where you can keep yourself developed, you can keep yourself updated with a lot of technologies which can be relevant to your industry, right? So even when you are a part of webinars or you are a part of some workshops, ensure that you have the maximum learning from these things. And while you are attending these sessions, guys, highlight these ongoing learning experiences in your applications as well. In your volunteering experience, you can always add in your resume that had been a part of workshop X, Y, Z, and what have you learned, right? You can always mention that. Researching companies is something else that we need to take care of before even applying for a job thoroughly. Research about the company, understand when I started giving interviews in my previous days of working, I was not very good at numbers. So when people ask me why our company, right? Why would you like to join our company? And then I used to hear people saying, because of the revenue generated, or I could see that your company is making an X number of profits in the business, or you would have got an award with XYZ. In an XYZ fraternity, I used to wonder, okay, fine, how can people remember so much? Because that was a time in an interview, I used to feel that yes, there is, I am a little anxious to give the answers. I am a little confused, right? And a lot of questions were there in my mind. So I used to wonder, okay, do I need to prepare on a couple of questions or do I need to go with the figures in my mind? So I thought, okay, no, let me be very uh, open with myself and let me only adjust to what I know, right? And that is when I started doing a research with the companies, with their values, with their products, right? That gave me an idea as to how can I align my goals and my objectives with them. And that was one of the key reasons that it became very easy for me to give an answer as to why would I love to join your company. Branding, very, very important. Defining your personal brand and presenting a consistent image across the market is difficult. But yes, it is very, very important. So this can even consider, this can even talk about your resume, your cover letter, your profile, your interview responses, and so on. So you need to be very careful when you talk about our branding. Our resumes should be compelling in such a way that it highlights your relevant accomplishments, skills, experiences, always in a reverse chronological order. Because the interviewer would always love to know what are you doing for them, right? Interview preparation, yes, preparing thoroughly, with interviews, getting into a lot of mock interviews is something that we're going to look at today, and why it is important, because this is going to something help you practice your responses in a better way, right? Follow up. Many people do not even try to follow up with your organization, but yes, it would be a good practice if you send a personalized thank you email or a note where you are expressing gratitude and reiterate your interest of your position. I'm sure that would be an icing on your cake, guys. So please have a follow up. Now, do not send them emails and start calling them as in when you want to, because that is something that will not be acceptable. So remember, maximizing your career potential is not a one-time process. It's an ongoing process where only a couple of things that you need to keep in mind. And they are staying proactive, remain open to learning and the growth opportunities, and continuously reassess your goals as you progress in your career. What mistake are we doing is we are reassessing ourselves. All the times I am evaluating myself. I never come back and I never think about the analysis from my end. Okay, how was my interview? What were the questions that were being asked about my resume? Because that can be a way of me identifying, oh, this was something that was missing in my resume. These questions never come to my mind. Did I fumble sometime answering any particular question? Is what I need to understand in my interview analysis that yes, this is something that I need to work on. So, guys, instead of reassessing or re-evaluating yourselves often, please reassess your goals as you progress in your careers. Any questions that we have for so far? If not, may I go ahead? A quick yes or a no?
We do not have any questions.
Great. So that means silence speaks more than words at times. So I think I can go ahead with the next slide. This video resume, guys, have been around for a very long time, and it has been a great way to get an edge over the competition. Yes, absolutely. A well-made video resume can give you a chance to present yourself creatively and allow a hiring manager to assess your personality, your communication skills, your rate of speech, intonation, enunciation, and what all you can think of, right? So, at times you need to be in the shoes of an interviewer where you are assessing a person with his communication skills, with the eye contact that he makes, what he speaks about himself, and hence it is very important for you to make a proper video resume for yourself, right? This plays a very important role as compared to the traditional CVs that we had with us, right? So if you can see on the screen, the average length watched of a single internet video is would be 2.7 minutes, and 59% of senior executives would rather watch a video, right? So it's better rather than going through the resume and looking at it, identifying the errors here and there. It becomes very easy for us to understand the communication and the engagement of a person, right? So video resume is very, very important. And let's go ahead and see what are the components of a video resume. The introduction plays a very, very important role. Again, do not have a video resume, guys, that goes more than 1 minute 50 seconds, right? So you have to be very crisp, clear, confident, and you have to give your message uh, to the interviewer that what you are looking for. A quick formula, if I have to give you about introduction, would be a formula that I have always used, and fortunately, I had always cleared my interviews throughout the journey as initial years. The first 2 years, I wasn't able to, let me be very true to you guys, but then once I understood that what is something that I really need to add in my resume was something that I'm going to share with you. The formula for introduction can be C, right? S goes for strength, E goes for education, and experience. A's go for accomplishment, and P goes for passion. Now, let me go ahead and quickly give my introduction to you, and probably then you can share your quick feedback on how this sounds. Instead of telling my name is Snehal, I come from, so I'm born and brought up in Nagpur, guys, in Orange City, right? And I'm a commerce graduate. Uh, so instead of me going ahead with this, my name is Snehal Dhanashri. I am a commerce graduate, and I come with an experience of 22 years in the industry. That sounds very boring and monotonous, right? Instead of that, if I use this formula as SEEP, I can say a positive minded and enthusiastic training individual coming with an experience of 23 years in the industry of training, coaching, mentoring, where I love to add a value to my participants' life by training them on communication skills, making them more confident, understanding their goals in their life, and helping them achieve them uh, in an effective manner is something that I am passionate about. I have attended or I have organized, hosted more than 2,000 sessions in these years of my journey. I am passionate about training and coaching, and I'm always eager to learn. That's it. I've spoken about who I am, what I need to do. So, whatever I said right now, it's absolutely not there in my resume. And this is one of the difference that we make, guys, that we go ahead and tell the same thing what is there in that piece of paper, which kinds of gives no value to what you say. Because any which way, the interviewer has your resume with him, right? So if you go ahead, he has already been addressing you, hi Snehal, how are you doing? And then you go ahead and say, okay, my name is Snehal and I am blah, 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 blah. That absolutely makes no sense. Okay, a quick feedback about the introduction. Do you think seed formula is something that's going to work? Because this is one formula that talks about the passion. It talks about the support that you had been giving to the industry, to the work or to the fraternity that you're working in. It helps you to refer your past experiences, and it talks about a lot of your strengths, probably which are not mentioned in my resume. So quick feedback about SEEP formula, guys. Are you clear with this? SEAP. Were you able to understand the impact of giving a normal introduction and adding a SEEP introduction in your resume? Let me know a yes or a no, maybe.
Can you repeat once? I mean, they're asking to repeat.
SEEP formula. S stands for strength, E stands for education and experience, A stands for achievement, and P stands for passion. Try this formula, guys. This is going to work for you to explain yourself better with what your experience is, what you support, and what your passion is. Because I'm sure if you are hiring someone, you want to understand what the person is, right? You can also focus on your life experiences that you have led to cultivate skills. You can always do that.
What is ISJC?
Say that again.
ISJC.
ISJC.
Yeah. So somebody is asking ISJC. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I haven't got that. ISJC.
Valentina is asking, is it SEAP?
SEAP, yes. Strength, education, experience, achievement, and passion.
All right.
While I was introducing myself, did you feel the difference of you giving a normal introduction? Whereas if you compare yourself with an introduction where you're talking about your strength, your achievement, your passion, makes a difference, guys? Okay.
Yes. Sangram says yes.
Okay. I would really love to know what you guys think about this. Try and use this formula. I'm sure it's going to add an icing to your introduction, right? When we talk about the skill sets, it's very, very important for them to not mention what is written in a resume, but to go ahead and tell about a couple of different skill sets that you might come with. So if you say for an example, if you are a person who um, comes with a technical background, right? So yes, he is looking for the technical skill set that you are applying for and that are very much mentioned in your resume. However, something that you would have learned or you would have acquired as a skill set is always that you can mention, right? Your journey, please talk about the journey of yours in a quick, short way of making them understand as to where you started from and where you are today, right? So how do we talk about a journey? I'm going to explain you in a couple of next slides. Uh, Call to action in while you're creating your video resume, you ensure that you always love to leave the ball in their court. And while you do that, it's very, very important for you to be very, very confident. You have to give them a reason to give them a call back. Now, guys, video resumes are submitted before your interview, right? When your resumes are submitted, wherein you are not there with the person who can go ahead and ask you, okay, why have you mentioned this? What are the skill sets that you have added? So, as we had discussed earlier, that your resume should be very clear, crisp, concise, and short, right? A quick recap of your resume would be of one page. And if you come with an experience of more than 15 years, then you can always work on a CV. That's something what a curriculum we say, right? Now, saying that this video resume would also be sent to an interviewer before they meeting you. So it's very, very important for you to understand that why are they looking at you and what are the expectations of yours from an interviewer, right? So it is very, very important for you to give these four things: your introduction, your skill sets, your journey, and your call to action. While you create a video resume, ensure that you have a plain background behind you. You are wearing a proper formal attire. You have a proper eye contact. You picture your conversation, guys. Picture your conversation is nothing but uh, when I talk about the the pace of your conversation, right? It shouldn't be very fast. It shouldn't be very less. Do not focus on words like I have done this all the times, right? A clarity has to be maintained while you are talking about it. The most important aspect that you need to keep in mind while you are speaking to someone is the tone. Yes, the words do they play a lot of importance in the way you speak, but what makes or what gives a lot of importance is the tone, how you speak, right? When I talk about the you in the word picture, you always need to understand the expectations of an interviewer. So do a quick research about the company, do a quick research about the job that you're applying for, and then go ahead, right? I would go with rehearse, do a lot of rehearsals before you go ahead and pick a video resume. It's not easy to go ahead and pick a video resume at times. Keep in mind that you give importance to enunciation. People who do not know what is enunciation, enunciation is a very close friend of pronunciation, right? So we all are aware that how important pronunciation is while we speak to someone. We should always be taking care of enunciation, which says that do not repeat the words while you are speaking. There are a lot many times you would have heard people saying morning, morning. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, right? So ensure you do not repeat the words, you take care of them, right? And the most important thing that you need to pay attention is that you speak the language of confidence, right? You ensure that the lighting that you have around you is proper. There should be no noise. Guys, also ensure that your fans are off because most of the times the headphones or the headsets that we use are not in a great shape. And while we create a video resume, they can hear the sound of the air or the voice which is around you. Ensure that you keep it short and simple, sweet and stern, right? It's very, very important for you to ensure that your video resume has four things in it. One is your theme, one is your introduction. You talk about the journey of yours. Say, for an example, you are coming from a technical background. So you talk about the technical skills that you have learned. If you have done a certification from some institution, please talk about the learnings of your certification. And the fourth thing is you tell them why would you be the right candidate. Now, while you answer this question, why would I be right candidate? Please do not start your answer with, I should be the right candidate because, and then you go ahead. I am the right candidate. You should hire me. Please do not use words like you should hire me. Let's not tell anyone what they are supposed to do. Instead of that, you can always use two skill sets of yours, explaining them that why you are the right candidate for this particular job. With an excellent time management technique that I have always been worked on or I have applied in my life, I feel that I am the right person for this job. So always have at least one or two strengths of yours that talks about it. And guys, here at this moment, It might be sounding very easy for you to listen to this, that you need to talk about your strengths, ensure one thing, that you toot your horn the right way, right? You need to understand that if you have to make a positive impact in your conversation, you have to think positive, you have to be positive, right? You have to use a lot of power words to ensure that your communication goes the right way. Please avoid using abbreviations or slangs. Not all of them would understand the short forms or the abbreviations, right? So ensure that your communication is clear with no ambiguity. I hope we are clear so far. Rehearse, guys, before you go ahead and create a video resume. That is very, very important. The next important topic for the day is strategies to ace mock interviews. How many of you would have practiced mock interviews? I would have done that a lot, many times. I used to sit in front of a mirror and I used to give questions. I used to answer the question that had been asked a lot, many times, because interview is a crucial technique that connects an employers and the candidates. A very common example that I always give in my sessions. How many of you have seen this Indian serial CID? A quick yes or a no that used to come on Sony when I was a kid. CID, where you had ACP Pradyuman. How many of you remember ACP Pradyuman? A quick yes or a no?
Yes, we are getting yes.
Okay, a lot of yes, right? So what he used to do, he always used to say, "Kuch to gadbad hai," right? So he always had this question. What most of the times we do, guys, is we turn the interviewer into ACP Pratyuman. He's a very nice human being who's sitting there, and he has a lot of questions, only with the mindset to understand whether you are the right person for the job or not. But because we do not give the right answers, or we do not give the complete answers, this poor interviewer has to keep interrogating. Have you worked on a project? Yes. What project have you worked on? XYZ. Can you help me explain the project? And then the explanation goes on. So why? Why there is a round of interrogation? Absolutely not. Here, we need to understand, in an interview, there are two humans who are connecting with each other, and hence it is a round of interaction in an analytical manner, with an ability to evaluate your personality, to understand who you are, what you are. Because the responsibility lies on an interviewer's shoulders, guys. It's very, very important for him to choose the right person. What if I have not asked you what are your weaknesses? Right? I am sure you would not be able to give a right answer then. There are four strategies. So introduction should be, again, as I've said, should be correct using the C formula. Your body language, you should not be like this. You're listening and the research about the company. It's very, very important. The checklist, the first appearances count. Yes, how you dress and act. So whenever you are even a part of a mock interview, guys, at times at home as well, or you are being with the right person, please ensure that you follow these things that you are seeing on the screen right now. Right? Answer all the questions that I've asked. And if at all you are not aware of the questions, it's okay. Go ahead and ask the interviewer. Would you please help me understand what the question is all about? The STAR technique. It's a very, very important technique that you can always use, right? These techniques can be used with the questions like, tell me a time about when you had to deal with a difficult situation. Have you ever worked on a project? Describe your accomplishment that you had. So instead of giving a vague answer, you can always talk about the situation. You can talk about the task. You can talk about the action and the result. Just to give you a quick example about this, guys, the easiest way I can say, while I was working on a project with upGrad, the task that I had to create was a website wherein I had to add a couple of books to my project. While doing that, I experienced an error with the code. With the help of my teaching assistants, with the help of my mentors, doing a little research on Google and YouTube, I was able to identify and break the code. And the result was the users were able to use the website in an effective way. Where I've talked about the situation, I've spoken about the task, the action, and the result. Now, this STAR technique, it helps you to prepare examples. It helps you to be clear with what is that you want to say. It helps you to understand, yes, there is a way of me giving an answer and not sounding vague. It allows you not to rush and allows you to relax and give your answers correctly. Right? So this technique is very, very important. You can always go ahead. One of the best techniques that I have used is the storytelling. You remember when I started this session, I started with the short story. And human beings are natural storytellers, guys, because stories are something that helps you to communicate your emotions. It helps you to give an opportunity to create that emotional rapport with you and your interviewer. As I already said, there are two humans who are interacting with each other is when storytelling comes into a picture, is when you start telling something about yourself. You talk about your journey, you talk about where you were before, why are you here now, and so on. So please, instead of walking them through your complete CV, let's not do that. Share a story about a specific event that made you choose a particular career. Why have you chosen this career, right? So please ensure that you talk about a passion. Ensure that you talk about why have you uh, thought of becoming a developer, right? So craft your story around that, and I'm sure you will be able to grab the attention of a interviewer, because the most important thing that you need to understand is you need to know your audience. You need to understand the company. You need to understand what are the expectations of an interviewer. You need to understand that the most important thing is the person is looking for a one who is in a right direction, right? So what you need to do is you need to map out yourself towards the right direction. You need to, most of the times you need to practice your stories loud, right? So please do that. I would say brainstorm a few ideas for each time. Tell him something about yourself, the challenge that you face. So most of the times people tell me, Snehal, how do I do the storytelling? When should I do the storytelling? So tell them about a time when you have done an error. And guys, we are human. So please ensure that you go ahead and accept that yes, I had made a couple of mistakes and this is how I have worked on it, right? So these are the questions that you can see on the slide that helps you understand that yes, I need a story and I need a situation to explain about myself. How to make it more interesting is just to understand by including a dialogue, right? Now, dialogue can be used in one or two sentences or max to max two, three sentences. Let's not blow the conversation up, right? Instead of saying that my customer was very, very happy with my work and with my progress, so you quantify it and then you go about it. Use a lot of emotions, have a smile on your face, be short and simple, right? That's the most important thing that we can always talk about or can think about. Are we clear with the storytelling, guys? The most important topic for the day is your interview techniques, which is very, very important. A couple of types that I'm going to show you. One is a formal and an informal interview. One is sequential and panel. One is a group interview, a situational one, a phone or a video call that you can see. A quick update about what these interviews are and what are the expectations is something that I will be taking you through. The formal and the informal interviews are some things that involves the conversation between an employer and a candidate, right? Now, most of the times, a formal interview is a meeting between an employer and a potential candidate that is being done in a professional setting. It's a traditional form of taking an interview. While in an informal one, even you can have it in a cafe, right? Here in an informal interview, the expectations are the same. However, the informal interviews are different from the traditional interviews, right? So here the dress code is not as strict as formal interviews, but yes, the communication is what they're expecting is very clear, right? The only difference that you need to consider in the formal and informal interview is the purpose, right? Because here, both the interviews, they are technically looking for the uh, skill sets that you come with and the way you communicate with the people. Sequential and panel interview, I'm sure you all are aware about, right? Panel interview is where uh, there are two, three people in a panel, and sequential is something where uh, it consists of several interviews, one after the other. In this kind of interview, most of the time the same set of questions are being asked. Why are they asked? To understand and ensure that you give the same answer, not in a different way, but yes. Group interview, yes, we are all aware of that 2, 3 people would be sitting, a group would be sitting where would they would be asking you a lot of questions. Please ensure that you go ahead and give the right answer. Situational interviews are ones when they give you a lot of situation based scenarios. The phone or video call interviews, we are all aware of nowadays, it's in trend. So please pay attention. A couple of tips that I would like to give you is relax. As I said, it's an interaction and not an interrogation. Be enthusiastic and honest. Remain positive. Appear firm and not dictatorial, right? Accept failures and showcase your success, guys. With this, I would like you to give an opportunity to go ahead and, if you would like, I can be your interviewee for the day, and I would try my best to clear your round of interview. So if you want, if you have any questions, if somebody wants to interview me to understand how do I use this technique that I have helped you with, I would be happy to go ahead and be your interview.
Yes. So the ones who wants to talk, please raise your hand. I will allow you to talk now. If you're unable to talk, you can always put it in the Q&A window or chat window. I can read it out for you. Yes. Any
No
questions,
questions? No,
suggestions?
no questions, guys.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me about yourself. Okay. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Sunil. I'm a positive minded and enthusiastic training individual with an experience of 23 years in the industry of training, coaching, mentoring. I am a BCom graduate from Nagpur University, and while in this 23 years of my journey, I was able to add a lot of value to my participants' lives by working on various topics and techniques that help them not only grow in their life, but also kind of help them to excel in the career that they always looked for. I am passionate about the profession of mine, and I always look forward to be as a learner. Thank you. Yes, I do come with weakness. Most of the times I procrastinate. And as a human, it kind of comes as a tendency of procrastination. However, what I'm trying to work on is uh, working on a Pomodoro technique that has helped me a lot, prioritizing my day, wherein I allow myself for the first 20 minutes to focus on a task, and it helps me allow not to procrastinate. Okay, what are the next questions if somebody can help me?
Yes. Tell me one reason why should I hire you?
Great. While I was going through the website and before coming in for this interview, I kind of did a research and I went through the values and the ethics that your company comes with. And I was very happy to understand that we both are on the same page where you even believe that you allow people to come and share their innovative ideas by making them more independent with the decision making skills. So, yes, that is something that I completely believed in. And I thought this would be the right place for me to come and excel and be a part of your organization with the same values.
Okay. So why is your resume so long?
I come with an experience of 23 years, and yes, it's 1.5 page long, wherein I have tried adding my responsibilities and I have tried quantifying them. So this 23 years was very less for me to get that adjusted in this 1.5 page. But I'm sure if you want me to work on it, I'll look into it.
Yes. So why do you think you are the best candidate for this role?
Uh, with the job responsibilities and the description that I have read before coming for this interview, I qualify. If we have to say out of 10, I qualify 9 out of 10, right? So with the experience of getting people trained, understanding their mindset, helping them understand why would you need to change yourself are the couple of important things that I think I can add to the table. and hence I feel that I'm the right candidate. I read each and every responsibility and description that you had mentioned, and I have worked on them one on one, wherein we had seen an 85% of improvement in the candidate.
Right. So tell me something that's not in your resume.
My passion is not there in the resume. I'm a bike rider and I love to ride. I have been associated with a lot of groups. So on my weekends, I love to contribute towards the society by going ahead with my bike rides and helping them people out with a lot of topics on. So we do a lot of sanitation exercises in the small villages. We do a lot of cleaning. We teach kids. So this is the way I spend my weekends on. One of my passions, which I've not mentioned there.
Yes. So
What
do you
about
have any questions for us?
Absolutely. If you allow, I have a most important question. As I come from this industry, I said that one important thing or quality that I'm looking for myself is I'm always a learner. Are there any trainings or is there any platform for an individual wherein they can keep the learning process on?
All right. So there are two questions here. Why should we hire you, and how would you tackle many stakeholders? This question is from same person.
How do I handle? Okay, I have answered that question. Why should we hire you, right? So I would love to answer the second question. Though. Now, this is not what I'm going to say in my interview, guys, but this is a repetitive question, so I'm ignoring that first question. How do I handle multiple stakeholders at a time, right? The most important thing I do while handling multiple stakeholders is by understanding them first, right? Understanding the needs of my stakeholder is something very, very important. I have a habit of writing the notes, writing it down a lot. So by analyzing the needs of my stakeholders and addressing who needs the attention first is when I would go ahead and prioritize my stakeholders' attention. That is how I do it.
Yes. So how would you prioritize if you have multiple tasks and all tasks are priority one?
All tasks are priority one. I'm sure there would be something which would be very, very important, right? I had always followed this Eisenhower technique while prioritizing the task, which talks about these four quadrants. What is very important, I would go ahead and do that first. Something very important that can be handled by someone else in my team, I would go ahead and hand it over to them. The third quadrant that I would work on is it something that can be looked at a little later after probably an hour or so? I would pay attention then. And the fourth quadrant that I would work on is it does it really need my attention or I can hand it over to someone else completely? Is when I work on this technique, I analyze with this technique and I ensure that I, attend each of the tasks independently and effectively.
Yes. So how would you answer questions that's not in your experience?
As I said, I'm a learner. I would love to learn a lot. Yes, a lot of techniques, a lot of topics that I'm still unaware of. I keep reading. I keep myself updated with the market trends by listening to a lot of podcasts, by listening to a lot of TED talks. However, yes, if I need to work on something, I'm always ready to learn. I would be looking for the right mentorship under you or from you.
So Valentina is asking, can we do the reverse where you interview us and give us feedback?
Say that again.
Can we do the reverse of this? So where you will be the interview and they can answer your questions and you can give them the feedback.
Okay,
Can
yeah,
we?
we can do that. You tell Soumya what would be the right way of doing it.
Yes, we can do that. Anybody wants that to be done? You can raise your
Also,
hand.
you want me to be an interviewer right now? Is that what Talishna said?
Yes.
Oh, great. I would love to be. So, Alina, why don't you go ahead with this? We would allow you to unmute yourself.
Yes. There's one hand raised to Mujtaba. Yes, I have allowed you to talk. You have anything?
Hi, thank you. I have a question like, for example, I have book knowledge about how to do user interface design, but
Mhm,
I never did in job experience.
mhm.
So how would I incorporate that book knowledge into experience or in the interview?
Be very true, right? See, we are not expecting experts to be there with us, right? We are looking for learners, and we need to understand this mindset of an interviewer. The most important thing, whatever answers you give, I'll come to your question, Mustafa, if I pronounced your name correctly. One thing that you can always tell them is, I have a theoretical knowledge about an XYZ process that I've worked on. However, the practical knowledge is limited, or I would say is not there at this moment. But I'm sure I'm going to use a combination of the theoretical what I have read and the practical one from the floor. And I would try and implement the same. So tell them that I have not worked on this. I just have the theoretical knowledge about this. I'm sure which is going to help you with some amount of knowledge with what you need to work on, if I'm correct, right?
Yep.
Was I able to answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Be very true, guys. Always remember one thing. You cannot fake or you cannot give an answer that I am perfect. Absolutely not. If you do not know something, please be upfront and say, now do not say, I don't know. Right? Please go ahead and be very positive. Use assertive communication and you please tell them, I'm very sorry. I come with a very limited knowledge on this particular topic. However, I'm going to get back for myself on this topic after this interview. So what it shows is that you are a learner. You have accepted that you do not know about this, but yes, you're going to learn about it. And that is what we are looking for. We are looking for learners, right? If you would have been an expert, why would have I, uh, hired you? I would have just given you, I wouldn't have even interviewed you. I would have said, okay, fine. I can see your experience. Come and join us. No, right? That's not how it works. So be very true. Yes, anybody else who had a question?
No questions as such, but yes, Valentina, you have anything to talk? I can allow you to talk. We can do the reverse version. Okay, so we have a question. What if we have not changed company many years?
Please go ahead and say that why have you been with the organization? What is one thing that has helped you be with this organization? Always talk about the positive. If a question has been even asked to you, why are you leaving the organization? Please do not be an open book there and start talking about or start crying to them. Oh, you know what? There is no growth here. I cannot see uh, me getting benefit with my salaries and all. No, please don't do that. Talk about the positives of the organization and tell them that due to these reasons, I'm very happy to be a part of this organization and never thought of changing it because I was learning and growing at the same time. Why would a person love to change an organization? Either he wants to grow or he wants to learn.
Yes, Valentina, you can unmute yourself now.
All right. Thank you so much for the session. It's been insightful. So I was just thinking if we could do a reverse, just to get a feel of maybe we actually learned a thing or two from you today. I just don't know. So
Okay.
I'm open to it.
Okay. Valentina, which place are you from, if I may ask you?
I currently live in the UK, but I'm from Nigeria.
Okay, great. So Valentina, my first question to you would be, can you describe yourself in one word?
I would say I'm a proactive learner, and yeah, one word, proactive.
Proactive learner is what you said. What is one of the learnings that you had in the recent past?
One of the learnings I had in the recent past would be coaching, learning how to coach people, learning how to facilitate training and programs.
Right. And what are the challenges that you see in your current role right now?
My current role right now would be stakeholder engagement, because we have varying stakeholders in my organization, which require different communication and needs in terms of what were the information that they need to do. So it's basically finding the right techniques to get the message across to each stakeholder.
No, Valentina, I'm sorry. I asked you what are the skills that you want to work on in your current role. There would be some skills that you would like to work on yourself, right? With the current role that you come with.
Oh, yes, that would be customer engagements, stakeholder engagements, just learning the right how to communicate to different audiences. And it's something that I've been doing and I've taken upon myself. I've taken various trainings and I'm seeing that those learnings have been helpful because recently I've been applauded by my manager that I'm doing a good job of that because the messaging has been apt for each individual across the organization.
Great. So Valentina, you come with how many years of experience, you said?
I've worked in varying industries and in varying capacities. I've been a researcher, I've been a project manager, I've been a territory manager, I've been a business development manager. So what I'm trying to do now is transition into another role, which is IT, into tech. So the role I'm looking to take upon would be what's it called, a Scrum Master role. So what I'm also trying to do is to take all the experiences I've had over the years to try to see how they fit into that Scrum Master role. So that's where I am right now. I'm trying to shift into that industry, that IT industry.
Okay, my question was to you, Valentina, is how many years of experience you come with?
How many years? That would be over 10 years across different industries.
Over 10 years. Okay. That's great, Valentina. That's all. We would go ahead with the questions. So one quick feedback that I would love to give you is the best thing that I liked about while you're talking to me is you were very clear with what you had to say in your mind. You were very clear understanding yourself. That is very, very important. The first question that I asked you, wherein I asked you to talk about or give yourself a word, that is something gave me a clarity of you know yourself better, right? So that is one good thing, Valentina. I really like that. One thing that I would love to, give you as a feedback would be listen to the question, right? Two times, it so happened that twice I asked you a question and you went on explaining me, which I never looked for, right? So I was looking out for how many years of experience you come with, right? So I was just looking at the number, 10, 15, 12, whatever, right? And my previous question was, what are the skills that you want to work on in your current profile, right? So I was just looking at the skills wherein you described me the complete job responsibility of yours, right? So this will happen, guys, that you're very anxious to answer, right? So take your time, pause yourself, listen to the question. If you're not clear with it, please tell them. Would you please repeat for me once? Right, Valentina?
Okay. Thank you. But I just want to know, will this part be taken off, not put on YouTube for privacy? Because it has my details.
Oh, yes. So, Soumya will be able to help us with that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Valentina. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Bala Subramaniam, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking about, being positive about why you're leaving your existing company and moving on to a new company, and you have worked there for a long time. So what exactly would you say? For example, you worked in a company, say, for about 5.5 years or 6 years, and you're moving on. So what exactly would you say? Why are you moving on? So that's my question.
Give me a reason why you're leaving the company, and I'll construct the answer for you.
No, I mean,
okay, let me take my example. I was a part of a company for some years, right? And the only reason I was a part of this company was when I started working with this organization, I started my career with this. Under the right mentorship that I got here, I was not able to only grow professionally, but I also had seen myself growing with my life skills, with my personal skills in this organization. I joined as an analyst and I had been promoted as a quality supervisor here. However, for this year, the goals that I have set for myself are not aligned by the strategic thinking in this team, right? If I have to talk about this more, the roles that I am looking for is very limited to the process that I come with. And hence, I was looking for a different organization just to excel myself. So I had a word with my manager before that, can I go ahead with the profile that I'm looking for? Unfortunately, It's not in the plan as of now for our organization, or else I wouldn't have left. Which was the case, Balasubramaniam, because when I wanted to be a voice and accent trainer, when I started my journey, my current organization was not supporting with that kind of role for me, right? And hence, to grow myself, I chose to be a part of the other organization. So always remember, we always have the positive learnings from our organization, right? And a true employee would be, or what a loyal employee that we call about, right, is always the one who talks positive about it. And Balasubramaniam, that's the fact that everybody wants to go in life, right? Now they might ask you why not with the same organization. So tell them they do not have it in their organization right now, and not even in the future for the next 2-3 years. So I thought, why not try ahead?
Right, because I mean, I'm in a particular role right now, and I'm trying to move to a different role. Within the organization, I'm not finding that opportunity to
Absolutely,
move
go
to
ahead
that
and
role.
say that.
So,
Go ahead and take that point, because you know the reason, Balasubramanian. You know what?
right,
The key over here is we always believe in speaking like this, you know, that's not the right way. We have to be very polite. We have to have an active voice communication. Always remember that. Be whatever it is, you please go ahead and tell them, but ensure you sound very polite. I would have loved to continue with the organization with the kind of you know, the people that are with me, or the infrastructure, the ambience that I come with, you know, or the development that is there in the organization. However, for this particular role, there are limited, you know, positions, and hence I wanted to try.
right, because I mean, I'm trying for that role, but I'm not getting any kind of positive response from the management for that particular role. So that's one reason why I'm looking now.
Yeah. Go ahead and talk
Yeah.
about the positives. Very, very important.
Right.
Anybody
Thank you.
else? There's a question.
Thank you, Balasubramaniam. And there's one more. Yeah. Yes, Sunil.
Hi, Snehal.
Thanks, Sunil.
Yeah, I'm into non-IT, so I want to switch to IT. Okay, I wanted to do some course. Okay, so I already have around 9.7 years of experience currently. Okay, how can I like approach to the interviewer like as a I have to go as a fresher or how can I?
If you're transitioning from a non-IT to IT, see, Sunil, the experience won't go for a waste, for a fact, right? Because you have acquired a lot of skill sets in the non-IT, right?
Yes,
You have
yes,
acquired team building skills. You have, you know, you're comfortable with collaboration. You know how reporting works. Is that the domain is getting changed from a non-IT to an IT, right? The most important question would be for you is, why are you trying in an IT position after 9.5 years? So
yeah,
here your passion is needed, right? Very, very important. So you have to understand, or you have to talk about your journey. Why did you think about being in IT? There are a lot many people who come and tell me they being from mechanical engineering and they getting into IT. So I ask them, why have you chosen IT? They have no jobs in mechanical industry, you know. Absolutely no jobs. Is that the reason that you are here for? Is this an optional job for you? And I'm sure you as a recruiter also would not like somebody who comes as an option to you, right? So very nicely, very clearly tell them about the journey and your interest. Why do you want to get into IT? Say, for example, even in IT, you want to be a developer. So you can always talk about, you know, while I was working in the non-IT sector, I had no idea about how the applications work. For example, take my example only. I do not know anything about IT, but I always wonder how these websites work. What is the logic behind them? And I always had that inclination towards developing something new as I had been creative. And hence I thought, why not try something new and get myself certified, or, you know, get myself accustomed to some skills and technologies that are, you know, in the market. So talk about the passion, talk about why do you want to do this, because they want to know that. The why is very important.
okay.
And
Thank you.
this can be only done with a story, Sunil.
Okay,
Only story. Yeah.
thank you so much, Snehal.
Most welcome.
Thank you, Sunil.
Hello.
Yeah. So no questions as of now. So if there are no questions coming in, then I think we are good to wrap.
I'm on another call. Okay, so can I call you later?
Sunil,
We
can
missed, go on mute.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Yeah.
Balasubramanian, you have raised hand since then, or you have a question?
Oh, sorry, I thought it was unraised. Sorry, my
No
bad.
worries, no worries. Guys, just keep one thing in mind for whatever interview you go for, right? Please understand that there are two humans who are interacting with each other, right? And be comfortable the way you're comfortable asking me right now. We do not know each other, right? But still, you unmuted yourself and you asked the question. So please be sure of asking any question that comes to your mind, because you would be investing your energy, time, experience in a new organization, in a new journey. So you should have questions. When an interviewer says, "Do you have questions?" So please do not go ahead and say no. It shows that you are not ready for the job, or you're not interested for this job. Because if you're interested, you will have lots and lots of questions, right? There were so many question marks, is what I could see in one chat. Achievements is equal to certifications, right? No, no, no. Achievements is not equal to certification. Achievements can be where you have added value to it, right? Achievements is not certification. Now, my achievement as a trainer would be I was able to successfully help n number of participants in building their confidence, understanding their goals, achieving their goals is something my achievement. What certifications I have done would not be my achievement. Was I able to answer your question?
Yes. So I think we are good to wrap the session now. If there are no,
Thank you so much.
yeah. All right.
Most welcome, Sunil. Thank you so much, guys, for being a part of the session. And sure, Valentina, probably Soumya will be able to address this question to you, because yes, you had shared a couple of things with us.
Yes, Valentina, we
We'll
would.
take care of that.
Yes, we would edit that.
Thank you. Take care. And with a closing note, I would always say be positive and be interactive, guys. The more you are comfortable with yourself, you can be a part of any difficult conversation with ease, right? So be positive, be happy, and thank you so much for being a part of the session.
Yes, thank you, Snehal. It was, as I say every time, it was very insightful session. Thank you everyone for taking your time for this session, and please do visit our website for more such sessions. Please get registered.